What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Time Out with Doc and Caveman. As always, you are here with Dr. Fantasy and my co-host, the Fantasy Caveman. Before we start rolling, I just want to remind everybody to subscribe to our YouTube channel and wherever you listen to podcasts. But we are continuing with our prospect profiles. After this one, we only have 3 more to go. We're almost at the end here. So today we are talking about most likely top 5 pick Jalen Suggs, 6'5", wingspan, 205 pounds, was a freshman guard out of Gonzaga last season. His average is 14.4 points, 5.4 rebounds, 4.5 assists, 1.9 steals. Then his percentage is 50% from the field, 33% from three, and then 76% from the free throw line. So, Caveman, anything cool about Jalen Suggs?
So my fun fact about him is he is. I'm not sure if you were wondering this either, but he is Terrell Suggs, former Baltimore Raven linebacker who won a Super Bowl. He was kind of a big deal. He is Terrell Suggs' second cousin.
Oh, okay. I would have never guessed that. That's cool.
I was like, I wasn't even thinking about Terrell Suggs until I was trying to dig up some information about these guys. I was like, oh, he's the second cousin of Terrell Suggs. So this is another guy we just got done talking about, a guy that seems to be one of Jordan's guys. This is gonna be another guy that I'm sure Jordan really loves. And the number one thing that stands out with this guy as well is his effort and hustle. He just makes winning plays. And when you're talking about building a championship contending team or a team you want to make a run at titles, you need guys like this that just go out and just give 100%, dive for every ball, and that's something that Jalen Suggs definitely brings to the table. Along with that, he is not a selfish player by any means. He is very unselfish. He's always looking to get his teammates involved. He doesn't really force up too many jumpers or force up too many shots. He always looks to see if his teammates have the best look. He's gonna try to get it to his teammates. And that's something you really love about him. And then the final thing for me, before I'm sure Jordan has a lot he loves about him, is just his defensive potential. Jordan talked about he averaged almost 2 steals a game. He plays the passing lanes very well. I'm not if anybody's familiar with 2K, there is a badge called Interceptor, which gives you the ability to read passing lanes better, and he would definitely have this badge on 2K if when the game comes out. But yeah, I love his ability to play the passing lanes as well.
Caveman, I'm going to give you a bonus and give you a few more fun facts that I found on him, literally as I was just doing some poking around. So I just want to, that's what I'm here for. Number one is you've used this for other people, but this is impressive to me because Gonzaga's had a great history, but he's the highest ever recruit to play at Gonzaga. So really? I think that's kind of interesting. And then he was a very good quarterback coming out of the state of Minnesota, and he is the only player ever in the state of Minnesota to win Mr. Football and Mr. Basketball. So he actually could have played college football, but decided to stick with basketball. So that's pretty cool.
He made the right choice.
I think that he probably did too. But yeah, a lot of it is, I'll just touch up on it too. I mean, the hustle, the energy. This is another guy that I feel like can be a leader for your franchise. Once again, I'm not sure that I'm sold on him being a star. I don't even, I don't know if I necessarily see his path to becoming a superstar level player, but this is a guy that can be a championship level point guard, a leader on the court. a guy that gets his teammates involved, makes hustle plays, he has very high defensive IQ, I will say, but he's a little weak as a on-ball one-on-one defender. So I think he needs to work on that a little bit because he has the athleticism to do so. But offensively, he makes the right passes. He has great vision. And I feel like that's not a term we've used very often with guys in this class, but he has great court vision. And he's always, and I'm sure you could say that about Cade Cunningham, who it's not even close, has the best court vision in this class. But I think Jalen Suggs would be second for me. He knows how to find his open teammates.
He doesn't have a ball vision.
What's ball vision?
He doesn't have LaMelo Ball vision. We'll just say that.
Well, LaMelo Ball doesn't have vision because he just makes no look passes. He doesn't even need vision. He could be blind for all we know. We have no idea at this point. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a lot of where his strengths lie, is just his high IQ offensively and defensively. He's going to make the right plays at the right time. He's going to, scramble after loose balls. He's going to be a floor general on the kind of that classic floor general. And he's reminding me of one of my comparisons, all the words that I would use to describe him back in the early 2000s.
You're going to go with it too, but we'll hold off on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a nice comparison, and I see a lot of the similarities. But obviously, we're not talking about him offensively very much, so that's where most of his weaknesses lie. He's not a very good three-point shooter. He does turn over the ball a little too much sometimes. He's not a great finisher at the basket, and that's due to him not being very creative and not being able to create. Yeah, not being able to create his own shot. So those are kind of I'll bullet point them and let you go over them more, but just more shooting, creating his own shot. And if he's able to do that, I mean, this is a guy that can become a all-star caliber player. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything wrong with this shot. It just needs to be more consistent, which is definitely something that's worked on. When you don't have to overhaul it, you just need to work on being more consistent with it. I think that's something he's going to correct and at least be a respectable three-point shooter, because he's showing flashes of being able to hit them, but it's just the consistency. Like you said, you mentioned his turnovers. A lot of his turnovers come from when he gets into the lane and gets into traffic. He doesn't have great handle. He doesn't have the greatest handles, which when you get into traffic and that, it's really gonna burn you, and that's something that he's gonna have to work on, getting a better handle of the basketball, especially in traffic. Like he's a good playmaker and he knows how to set up his teammates, but when he's driving and he's trying to get into the lane and make the play, his handle gets away from him, and that's what results in most of his turnovers, I feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. So let's go over to ideal fits then, which we're talking about a guy who he really has been a consensus top 5 pick in every mock that I've seen. I haven't seen him really fall out of that top 5 range. If he were to fall out of the top 5, I don't think it'd be a very far slide because he's probably going to OKC at 6 then, most likely. But so if we're looking at those top 5 teams, I think the Rockets could use a strong defensive presence at one of their guard spots. And I mean, the Rockets, they need more guards in general. I mean, they have Christian Wood, Jayshawn Tate looked pretty good last season as well. Beyond that, they really could use everything. So yeah, I mean, that doesn't count. But yeah, I mean, he's there, but that's not a guy. We're not building around John Wall anymore. But shots fired. But similar to Scotty Barnes, I think this is a guy that can be a leader for your franchise. And I think that for a team, teams like the Magic, OKC, and Houston, who are in complete rebuild mode, you need high character leaders like Scotty Barnes and Jalen Suggs. So I think the Rockets are a good one. And then I put Orlando and Cleveland down as well. I mean, just once again, Cleveland is more, there's always seems to be rumblings that they don't want Darius Garland and Colin Sexton in the same backcourt. So I think Jalen Suggs could end up in that backcourt if they decide they want to move on from one of those guys.
Yeah, I hear a lot of reports that they prefer to keep Garland over Sexton, which that's a whole other topic. If he slides a little bit, Toronto is another. I put down Toronto simply because I would love for. I think he's the perfect replacement in Toronto for Kyle Lowry. I think once Kyle Lowry decides to hang him up or move on, I think he could be a good replacement for Kyle Lowry in Toronto as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I think that's a good replacement, definitely. So, NBA comparisons then. I have quite a few names. I guess
right.
I'll just allude to the first name that I already said. The guy that I was thinking of was former NBA champion Chauncey Billups of the Detroit Pistons.
That's what I was thinking you were going to say.
I'm going to talk about maybe another future NBA champion, don't you worry. But Chauncey Billups for me. And when you think about those tough, gritty Pistons teams, Chauncey Billups was the leader of that starting five. So I think similar, he's got a lot of, Chauncey Billups developed into a better three-point shooter than what Jalen Suggs is right now, but there's no reason he can't develop into a better level three-point shooter. But just being a floor general, the gritty defense, a lot of that reminds me of Chauncey Billups. I also said Pat Beverly, who I brought up before, same kind of concept. I know. Are you going to talk about Drew Holiday?
I was not gonna.
Okay.
I can talk about Drew Holiday.
I
like it, but he's just. I didn't want to just. I just didn't want to keep bringing up Drew Holiday whenever we talk about any good defensive guard. I feel like
I like Drew Holiday. You brought up Drew Holiday for Davion Mitchell, right? Was that who it was? Yeah. And I mean, honestly, that's one of the reasons I think I love Davion Mitchell's draft stock even more as we did this episode, because I feel like him and Suggs are really comparable, and you can get Davion Mitchell at a discount. So that's one of the reasons that if I'm one of those teams towards the end of the top 10 or this, 11, 12, 13 in that range, I love Davion Mitchell's value because I think that he has top 5.
You like Davion Mitchell more than Jalen Suggs. That's what I hear.
Man, I don't know. I think it's really close. I think you could toss a coin, honestly. But so I liked Drew Holiday for this comparison as well. Then the last one is Spencer Dinwiddie, who I think a lot of people seem to have forgotten about in Brooklyn. But Dinwiddie is a really gritty, tough defender, has decent size, which Jalen Suggs has. More of a combo guard rather than a true point guard. So I think that he has a little bit of Dinwiddie in him as well.
Yeah, I had Chauncey Billups down. I thought you were gonna say Chris Paul.
Oh, no, I see it in terms of being the face of a franchise. I can see it. Yeah.
Franchise. I just think Chris Paul with the effort. See Chris Paul give a lot. Chris Paul hasn't always been the best 3-point shooter either.
No.
But that's who I thought you were going with. So, what I honestly, when I look at him, I see Dwayne Wade in a point guard's body. Like if Dwayne Wade had just a little bit more point guard skills, that's kind of just Dwayne Wade is in just terms of the type of build that you want on a championship team. Like Jalen Suggs is the type of guy that is you want your championship teams built around. And Wade was an NBA champ. Wade was, one of the best players on a couple of NBA title championship teams. So I see a lot of point guard version of Dwayne Wade in him as well.
Yeah, I could see that a little bit. So I think that's it then for Jalen Suggs. Our next, I had to make sure I said the right name there because our next episode is another Jalen. So he is number 5 on my all hustle team here. So I now have my starting 5, and I'm all claiming them as my guys for the rest of eternity. So congratulations, Jalen Suggs, Mr. Basketball and Mr. Football means nothing because you're on my all hustle team. So. Yeah. That's
pretty big in the league at this point.
Doesn't matter. You can retire happy now. So I think that's it for Suggs then. We'll be releasing Jalen Green next, so make sure you guys subscribe and tune in for that, and we'll see you then.
Yeah.